Okay, you were telling us about your career.
Yeah, so I ended up in finance working in pensions, and I did that for quite a few years, but I didn't enjoy it, and was thinking about I wanted to work with children. So I got a job at a special school working as a teaching assistant. Loved working with the children, and a friend of the family was an occupational therapist. And she invited me to go along and volunteer in a charity she worked for, where you worked with children with brain injuries, and they did archery and things like that. Fell in love with it, and then was like, I want to be an OT, an occupational therapist.
Oh. So why did you want to be a physiotherapist?
Well, the short answer is I saw a physio on TV and I thought, that looks good, that's what I'll do.
And in particular for children?
No, I saw somebody on TV, I thought, I want to be a physio, they look good, that's what I want to do. That is how I decided my career to start with. Timing was brilliant, the flexible route just existed then, and it was only through having worked with one of the lecturers that she was able to tell me about this option.
It does show though, doesn't it, that you don't have to kind of put aside 3 or 4 years of your life really to do the studying.
Did my A-levels when I was 18, and I knew broadly that I wanted to work in healthcare, and the push at my school at the time was you go to university. So I actually applied to do a nursing course. And then I was fortunate enough that an OT assistant job came up in a local community hospital and just fell in love with it. I think the experience I had in the adult services kind of gave me some of the foundation skills that I needed to work with children, and then the team have been really supportive, teaching me working with children, so what I need to know, development, that kind of thing.
Like Laura said, our team has been brilliant, sort of developing the knowledge and pushing you to sort of stretch yourself, but not too quickly.
I think that's perhaps something I didn't realise when I was training and thinking about being a speech and language therapist, is just how diverse it is.
I work in the early years team, so I see children up to the age of 5 or school age who have difficulties with their activities of daily living. So it could be little ones who need support with dressing skills. They've never learned these before because they're little. So learning about dressing skills, feeding skills, any barriers to kind of play activities, accessing the environment. There's lots of creative kind of ways of problem solving really. But I love my job. I love working with all those little ones.
And you never have a dull day with that age group, even if you've got what looks like on paper a similar day to you've had before, it generally doesn't pan out.
Absolutely.
It's always new, always different.
The joint working is useful because I think sometimes you might work solely on your own. It might be something fairly straightforward that you've got the expertise to deal with, but like Sophie says, it's really good to walk in with another person or maybe take part in a wider group assessment. It's just a myriad of different ways to work really, whether you're doing it remotely or perhaps you might be working on Teams or something like that, lots of meetings that way.
Across my career I've worked in quite a lot of teams, and I have to say that this team's been the most supportive, not only sort of supervision but training.
But there's always change, I think, so although I might not be looking for a change in role or there's always something new coming along.
Working with children and working in the community, both of those things bring unpredictability. And so if you come and you think you've got a plan A, B, C, D and you're going to do it in that order, you need to forget that because you need to be adaptable and dynamic.
I think I would suggest that anybody looking at a career such as ours to get some experience, perhaps volunteering in those sorts of situations where you're coming into contacts with families.
Like you said, anything where you're with children and families, and because all of those skills are transferable, and the most important ones are communication.
I think a lot of people go into physio thinking that they're going to be working in sport, and that's such a tiny percentage of what we actually do.
You can find occupational therapists in lots of different settings, and an OT in a hospital might be looking very different to an OT in the community, and what they do on a daily basis will change.
So after I finished my occupational therapy degree, I actually did some work in research.
There's a lot of research involved, isn't there, in our professions, and keeping up to date and making sure your practice is evidence-based and all of these things. So, absolutely, there's a lot to do around research, isn't there?